Well. Honestly, didn't think it was going to get to this extent with your Sixers. But honestly, I feel like deep down we probably should have seen this coming because everywhere, every single place that James Harden has been throughout his career, it always has to involve some type of drama that gets him out the door, that gets him to a place that he wants to go, to where he's not playing for that organization anymore. There are too many patterns to see this, and we probably should have saw this coming at the end of the day from the beginning of the offseason. Because holy shit, this Sixers offseason has been miserable. It's been so drama-filled, and it just leaves this fan base, seriously, just no room to be excited for about this team. Completely no room. You start with early this morning, James Harden in China, I guess having a little, meetup of some kind, and he just outright says it. I'm like, Jesus Christ, going right for the heart. Daryl Morey is a liar. I don't trust Daryl Morey. I don't want to play for any organization that he is involved with or that he's a part of. Going right for the jugular there, James. Right for it. And the drama continues. The spark from the NBA world. You all know it's staged because James Harden can't get his way. He has to put some type of drama out there to where, he could probably get some leverage, even though Daryl Morey's most likely, basically what he's been doing this entire offseason with James Harden is playing hardball, because we all know that James Harden went to test free agency, that everyone around the NBA firmly believed that he was not worth the top dollar that he was expecting, which obviously was going to happen because everyone saw what happened in the playoffs. You show up for 2 games, you drop 40 points, but then the rest of them, show, just like the pattern that goes along his entire career. James Harden does not show up when it matters. It doesn't. He doesn't. He doesn't care. He doesn't care about winning championships. He only cares about what he gets and if he gets his way. And that's what he is exactly trying to do right here. I don't put any blame on Daryl Morey, even though he definitely doesn't get off the hook for this because, of course, this offseason overall for the Sixers has been very miserable in regards to basically this entire James Harden drama. How does the Sixers, seriously, how does this team convince this fan base that this year is going to be different? Because it's not. Slapping Nick Nurse into this, for as good as a coach that Nick Nurse is, he's not going to turn this team, James Hardenless or not, into a championship contender. It's just not going to work. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen like that overnight. He's not going to turn Tyrese Maxey into a primary ball handler overnight. Joel Embiid's not getting any younger. Basically, what I'm getting from this entire situation, from what it sounds like, from the moves that they're making in the offseason, it just feels like this is a punt year for this team. They're not even pressing all the buttons. They're not even trying. Okay, this is a punt year. We'll clear up some cap space for the next offseason because Tobias Harris's contract comes off the books. James Harden's contract will come off the books. So we'll definitely have a lot of leverage right there, a lot of free cap room to go out and sign some big guys that end up in the offseason that year. Sure, if that's what you want to sell, go right ahead. Go right ahead. Do I believe that's the right move? Because if you're punting a year, that means another year that Joel Embiid's not any younger. And yes, we soured on Joel Embiid after, that whole, game 6 and 7 in round 2 against the Boston Celtics. We all saw what, Joel Embiid said, I want to win a championship, whether that's in Philadelphia or some other city. We saw that. He already placed, the blueprints there for possibly asking out of Philadelphia in the near future if this mess doesn't get fixed. I'm expecting that wholeheartedly. No doubt. Whether that's this upcoming offseason, sometime during this year, at some point, I firmly believe Joel Embiid will most likely request out of Philadelphia. That's all I'm expecting at this point with the way all this drama is. It just feels like, you're stuck in a cauldron. There's just a gigantic rain cloud that follows this organization wherever they go. Whatever they do, whatever move they make, it just turns into crap. It just does. Even when you have the league's leading scorer, MVP, and, the best, 1-2 punch in the NBA, the man that leads the league in assists, and James Harden. And once again, the same results happen. You can't get out of the second round. You can't get over that hump. Once again, you prove the fan base right that this is not a championship caliber team. And yes, you're still closer to a championship than not if you have James Harden on the roster. If you don't have James Harden on the roster, there's no shot you win a championship. No matter what Nick Nurse implements into the game plan, it's just not going to happen. You're closer to a championship with James Harden if you don't want to admit it or not. That's basically where you're at. But James Harden, we all know the saga's done. Daryl Morey's going to play long ball. He's going to play hard ball. He's going to find the trade that suits him. We all know, with the Clippers rumors and everything like that for a bunch of their role players, Powell, all that stuff. I don't think that's what Daryl Morey wants. We all know the reports about, they want an elite player, they want draft picks, they want, young guys. I don't think they're going to get all of that for James Harden just because of the contract and just because of that, even though the Clippers are Harden's preferred destination. So I have no idea how all this is going to play out. Am I saying I trust Daryl Morey to do the right thing? No. I don't think he's as bad as the city of Philadelphia puts him to be. But I'm also not going to be the same person that praises him like some other fan base of this fan base as well. Because there's a lot of people that praise Daryl Morey too. I'm more in the middle. I don't trust him, but I also don't think he's that bad of a president. I'm sure he wants to find a way to get this thing right. But it's just, where do you go? Where do you go from here? It just completely sours the taste of what, Sixers basketball returning, what could possibly be. You're excited to see what Nick Nurse can do with this roster, how he can implement his little details into the mix, and, how he can help Joel Embiid, how he can help Tyrese Maxey, everything like that. Maybe some of the other young guys on the bench, how he can help those guys out. But, nope, this, front and center, it's James Harden. I want out of here. Daryl Morey's a liar. I hate Daryl Morey. All that crap. All of that crap. It's a joke. Whatever Daryl Morey can do to get James Harden out of here, I'm just done with the drama, man. I'm so done. And I'm just afraid that this team is going to try just to constantly plug Band-Aids into the, the little, rash there, into the little cut. They're going to keep putting as many Band-Aids into the wound just to try to heal it up, just to try to make it look like it's, perfectly fine, where, you plug this guy in on a bad contract. You plug this guy in on a bad contract. I don't want to get into another Tobias Harris contract situation. I'm just so scared of what this team's going to try to do. And, you're always, split down the middle. Do you want to start this entire thing over and go through another process? Is this karma for, the whole Sam Hinkie process thing? When the entire league stepped in, forced Sam Hinkie out of the place. When the league had to force Colangelo into this mess before he got fired for all the burners and crap like that. It feels like I said earlier, whatever this team does, it just turns into crap. Whatever they do, whatever it's in the front office, whether it's with the coaching staff, whatever they do with drafted players and all of that, not knowing how to develop properly, not, having a supplemented bench, handing out a lot of bad contracts, tying yourself up into the Tobias Harris and all that, even though that's more on the fault of Jimmy Butler than not. It's just the fact that, how am I supposed to believe? How is this city supposed to believe in this team to figure it out and get out of this mess and to finally prove to us that you can go out there, get out of the second round for once in your life, for once in your life and prove to us that you can go and win a championship. Because if you rebuild this mess, it's going to be impossible to find another MVP caliber player in Joel Embiid. It's insanely hard to find that level of talent of the way Joel Embiid is. Another Allen Iverson. It's so hard to find. It is. But right now, with the way this team's molded, I don't know what they're going to do this year with the whole James Harden thing. He's eventually going to be gone because at the end of the day, James Harden gets what he wants. You know, the whole saga with Houston and the fat suit. He gets out of Houston. He goes to Brooklyn. He eventually wants out of Brooklyn because of all the Kyrie Irving shit. He gets out of Brooklyn, comes to Philadelphia, and now he's doing the same exact thing here. Is he going to show up for training camp? I have no idea. Is he going to play games? I have no idea. Is he going to play in a fat suit? I have no idea. Most likely. He probably has the fat suit prepared in the back of his closet just for emergency situations. That's probably, what he's going to do. But will James Harden be a Sixer by time the season starts? I don't know. Will James Harden still be a Sixer by the trade deadline? I have no idea. It's just the fact that we're all just tired. We're tired of the nonsense. We're tired of the drama. We're tired of this absolute dumpster fire that this franchise is just becoming with themselves. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Looking all around the city of Philadelphia, at this point, is it just going to be to the fact that no one cares about the Sixers anymore? No one's going to be caring about this regular season. No one's going to care. No one. Regardless of how good they perform, regardless of what their record is, no one's going to give a damn. No one's, because they all know what the end result is. They all know their team is not going to be good enough to compete in the playoffs. They're not going to make it out of the second round. They're not going to win a championship. They're just not going to. They're just not going to. And that's what everyone in this city knows. They can sniff through the shit. They can sniff through the faultiness of this team. They just can. And the city is just tired of it. We want a team that we can trust. Want a team that we know has the ability to go out there and win a championship. We fell into it last year. We did. We all thought, and who wouldn't have thought, when you win that Game 5 in dominating fashion on the Celtics home court, and you have a chance to, come home for Game 6, 3-2 series lead to finally punch your ticket into the third round for once in your goddamn life. A chance. And then in the final, 6-8 minutes of the game, James Harden, even though he stunk the entire game, Joel Embiid can't do anything in the final minutes. You don't even give your best player the ball. James Harden trying to do everything with it and can't do shit. It's just, it just all fell apart. They had it in the palm of their hand, and they crushed it. And they crushed it, falling flat on their face. And now this offseason is just so miserable for this team. So miserable. No one's going to give a damn. No one's going to give an ounce of a shit. No one's going to care their record. No one's going to care what they do. We all know what the end result is. And who knows? If James Harden's not even on the court, is this team, most likely they might still be, top 5 in the conference. They're still going to be one of those type of teams. They might, surpass 50 wins. Just with Joel Embiid being Joel Embiid. Maybe there's a little bit of a development in Tyrese Maxey under Nick Nurse. But in the end, is that enough? Is that enough? I don't think it is. I don't think it is. And I feel like no one's expecting a championship from this team. At this point, it just feels like they're punting this year. It just feels like they're punting. Waiting for some contracts to get off the books, specifically Tobias Harris and James Harden. And they're going to do whatever they do in the following offseason. I don't know. I don't know, man. It just sucks. It just sucks. Because you just think they're on the brink. You just think that they're on that chance last year to take that next step. Harden and Embiid dominating the league. You just think, sweep in the first round, you get the Celtics up to a 3-2 deficit. All you had to do was win on your home court. And you didn't. And you didn't. Man. Well, what a dumpster fire this organization is. And I don't fully blame Daryl Morey. He's not off the leash wholeheartedly, no. He's not fully away from the blame. There definitely is some blame to put on Daryl Morey, but this is all of a James Harden thing. He put himself into his own situation. All he had to do was not opt into the contract and could have went along in free agency and see where he could have landed, even though the rest of the league knows that James Harden is not worth the money that he wants. So, like, what the fuck, what the point was to opting in? What the hell was the point of opting into your contract? And then you're going to sit here saying that, oh, I'm going to opt in my contract, but I want to play somewhere else. Like, who the fuck do you think you are? I don't care that you're one of the best players to ever play the game, dude. You're out of your prime. You're getting older. You're not worth that money. You clearly don't care about winning championships because that's a whole facade. You don't care about that whatsoever. All you care about is making bank, going out to clubs at night. That's all you care about. That's all you care about. Doesn't care about winning championships at all. Feel lied to. And we probably should have expected this. But still, if you look back to the Ben Simmons trade and all that, I still do that every day of the week. I still do. I still do that trade. It just sucks. It just sucks. And I don't know how this team gets out of it. It just feels like they're stuck in a ditch and they just can't seem to get out of it. Honestly, a ditch is probably the least, worst possible metaphor to use here. Like I said, with the whole rain cloud that just follows this organization wherever they go. They're stuck under a rain cloud, and the storm just continues and continues and continues and continues and continues to get worse. Basically, to where you're at a Category 5 hurricane. That's what it feels like right now with this team. It's just nothing can go right for them. Basically, ever since they started the process. You thought when you saw, all that stuff, Joel Embiid comes back from the injury after he's drafted. You get Ben Simmons first overall. You see the team improving. They look fun to watch. They get out of the process. They get into the playoffs for the first time. You think, okay, it's only up from here. They got so much young, great, elite talent. Let's see where this takes us. And this is where we're at. Pain. Misery. Agony. Oh, man. Didn't think it would get here. I didn't think it would get here. But that's where we are. No one in this, honestly, if I'm looking at this entire thing, just looking at the four major teams here, with the Eagles, Phillies, Sixers, and the Flyers, I feel like the Sixers are going to be eventually on the bottom of the shelf, regardless of how bad the Flyers are. Because at this point, the Flyers have shown the direction that they want to go in, and people are understanding it, and people are supportive of it. People just hate the Sixers right now, because it's all pain. The Eagles, they're going to be on another Super Bowl run. The Phillies, they're in the middle of a playoff push again after a World Series run. What else is there? What else is there? The Phillies, they rebuilt for a long time, and that was a horrible rebuild. They've found their way into Bryce Harper, all these other good players. Dave Dombrowski comes into the fold, and they finally make the playoffs after so many years of misery. They make the World Series the first go-around. The Eagles, they win the Super Bowl. They go through all that drama. The Wentz drama, the Hurts drama, the Howie drama, all that stuff. They somehow rebuild and become one of the best young teams in the league and get to a Super Bowl run last year. First go-around. Flyers. Let's see where they take us. But they've still been to, past the third round more frequently than the Sixers have. That's a fact. Oh my God. This team. I don't know how to describe it. I'm lost for words. You feel betrayed. You feel betrayed by a team. You just do. And it's all this drama that surrounds them. And it just makes this season that's upcoming less and less and less exciting than it already was. Because I wasn't that excited for this season regardless. But it makes it even worse. It does. Just because I still have that sour taste in my mouth from the playoffs. And I just do. I just do. So, let's get to the Anytime Hotline here. We do have a voicemail here, so you can leave those at 215-839-9885, your thoughts and opinions. So let's get to Sean. Let's see what he has to talk about with the James Harden drama.
So James Harden now calls Daryl Morey a liar. I mean, this is just the soap opera that won't end. And I honestly, Amadeo, don't know how this ends. I mean, your hands are pretty much tied if you're Daryl Morey. What do? You have a player you can't trade, yet a player you can't bring back. And I'm just, overall with the 76ers, just honestly scratching my head at what their thought process is on how to get this team to the next level. I'm still baffled more than anything at the re-signing of Montrezl Harrell. That's the one that I don't think any of us saw coming, and now he's hurt. You didn't improve your shooting. You didn't improve your rebounding. You didn't get bigger and more athletic on the wings. And you're wasting the final prime years of Joel Embiid. You're putting all your eggs into the basket of Nick Nurse as a coach. That factor is going to be enough to put you over the top. I think that's a dangerous game to play, and I don't think it's going to be a successful one.
I agree with you. It really just feels like this year is a punt year, or they're literally putting all of their hopes and prayers into Nick Nurse turning this team around tenfold. I know the coach has an impact on the game in the NBA. We all know how bad Doc Rivers sucked. If Nick Nurse was in that situation, maybe those final, 6 to 8 minutes of the game, there's more structure. You actually find a way to get Joel Embiid the ball. Maybe you don't suck in those final minutes, and maybe you don't blow the game. Maybe if it's not Doc Rivers in that situation, maybe you found yourself in a better scenario in the playoffs last year. Maybe the development of some of the young players is even better. Maybe you see a better Tyrese Maxey, and all that stuff. Maybe it is better. And maybe it could be better. But I can't sit here and say that. I can't sit here and be an optimist. Because what do I have to be optimistic about? Nothing. Their biggest move this offseason, and yes, it was a big move that they had to make, was getting a new head coach. And yes, he was one of the better head coaches on the market. One of the best head coaches on the market. And yes, he could make huge dividends for this team for some of the players that need the help. But am I going to really sit here and say that it's going to be enough to put this team over the top? No. Not at all. Because honestly, it just isn't. I don't think going through another season as Joel Embiid as the main guy, it's just going to be it. And that's not a knock on Joel Embiid. It's just that, is Tyrese Maxey going to take that next step? Are we really going to rely on Maxey being the primary ball handler when he shows in the past that he really isn't capable of doing that yet? Even if he is going to be that in the future, which I don't think he's going to be. He's more of that run and gun type of guy that loves to, attack the basket and has, a quick and catch shot from, beyond the perimeter. I don't think Tyrese Maxey is going to be, that elite of a facilitator as James Harden was, because James Harden is one of the best facilitators this team has ever seen. And that's going to be hard to replace. It is. I just don't know how. This team just finds a way just to ruin everything. And I don't know what changes this year. It really, like I've been saying this entire time, it feels like a punt year. They're just waiting for the contracts to expire. Whatever happens with James Harden, Tobias Harris's contract expires after this year, and they're really banking on the following season. But like Sean said, it's a really risky game to play because Joel Embiid's not getting any younger. He is not getting any younger. Because how old is Joel Embiid going to be this year? I believe he's going to be 30 years old in March. He's right in the midst of his prime. So you're punting it this year. He'll be 31 the following season. We'll see. We'll see. I see a comment here from Scott. I hope I am here. I hope I'm here when you go live, but are we still trusting the process? 1983 was a long time ago. I don't know, Scott. I don't know. I don't trust this team. I don't trust what all they're doing. But we'll find out. It sucks. It sucks on how it just completely falls apart. So, I guess that's where we stand. And I think that's where we're going to end it off here, boys. So, thank you for joining the live stream as always. I know there wasn't that many people that joined here today, but if you view it when it's not live later tonight, you see it pop up on your subscription feed, I definitely recommend you hitting the like button, leaving a comment, hitting that subscribe button. It does me a great deal of service. We just surpassed 800 subscribers, so let's keep that number growing and growing and growing and growing. It'll do me a great deal of service. I appreciate everyone here that joins the channel. If you're new, hit the subscribe button. If you're a current subscriber, definitely recommend it to other people. I'll appreciate you for it. And also use the code TTPSPORTS, $20 off your first SeatGeek purchase. Great deal. Don't pass it up. You can rely on that a lot more than you can with the Sixers. I'll just put that out there. So, thank you everyone for joining me.